You've got mail. I'm so excited. So this is the Mythbridger Fantasy Post service, which I have very kindly been sent for this month's edition. Well, it's February 14th one, but I am just like a little bit behind on it. I thought that we could open it and read it together. I'll be honest with you, I have already read it because I couldn't wait, and it's just so beautiful and I wanted to read it. Remember that like there are other forms of love aside from romance. So much more out in the world. So I thought that we could, read it together today. And also I'll show you all of the little goodies that are inside. I'm still learning how to do ASMR. Dear overworked denizen, February has a case of getting on your nose. It arrives with instructions already written for you. How love should look, who should be holding hands, and whether affection counts if no one else can see it. The Lovers' Festival is approaching, and in Mythbridge, a small town with a tendency to catastrophize its own feelings, that usually means decorations, good intentions, and the quiet pressure to perform something heartfelt. Though mostly cute, not everyone takes part publicly. I heard of a dinner held earlier this week, tucked away from the festival preparations. Warmth, food, and company amongst friends. Arietta, the witch in town, hosted. Her cat, Spell, and the ever-present butter demon helped her decorate by staring comfortably from the sofa. Grazia, part-time chef, part-time detective, full-time gorgon, came straight from the tangled den after closing the kitchen, fresh macarons with her. Exhaustion worn honestly. Tuesday, trusted Mythbridger gardener arrived with Julia, who runs the comic book shop. Tuesday has a tendency to bring people together, and since Julia never spent time with Arietta nor Grazia when they showed up with cheeks red from the cold, carrying a few bottles saved for people who feel like home, the witch and the cook could not refuse. They ate, they gossiped, they lingered. At some point, the theme surfaced. It always does. The Lovers' Festival. The couples or the events for it, but also the older stories that reappear every February, whether anyone invites them or not. Like the Field of Blooming, mentioned by the enthusiastic gardener. It is said to lie just beyond Mythbridge, though no one agrees where it begins or ends. Most people cross it without noticing. It's a decent place to rest your legs, to lie back in the grass, or stop walking without having to explain why. Only sometimes, and never when summoned, does it bloom. The myth claims the field responds to true love. Some tongues are determined to categorize that as fated soulmates. They would be wrong. There is a story often told about a woman who crossed the Field of Blooming many times in her life, though as far as attention goes, she only noticed it bloom 3. The first was in her teenage years, when love felt urgent and all-consuming. She crossed the field with someone who made her heart race, convinced intensity meant permanence. The bloom appeared bright and sudden. The stories say she noticed it immediately, and just as quickly, it faded. Some claim this was because the love ended soon after. Others say first loves burn too hot to stay. The second bloom surprised her most. In her 30s, she crossed the field alone. Life had worn her down by then, shaped her, tested her, and forced her to choose herself in ways she never had before. She stopped in the grass simply to feel the breeze. The bloom appeared quietly beside her, warm but unassuming. The myth says this was the moment she learned to love herself enough to stay. The final bloom came much later, during grief. She lay down in the field because standing had become too difficult, and a friend lay beside her without trying to fix anything. The bloom appeared low in the grass between them, easy to miss. The stories say this is the bloom most often overlooked. because few expect true love to be sororal or quietly fraternal in nature. The myth is careful here. It makes it clear true love takes different shapes and might come multiple times. If the field only bloomed for romance, Tuesday continued whilst pouring more bubbles around, it wouldn't be telling the truth. Outside, February continued being February. Inside, the Lovers' Festival stayed at a safe distance, not something to perform for. The field of blooming does not tell you who to love or bind you to only one. It reflects a clear truth, that love is not confined to romance. So this month, as the town enjoys its decorations and the stories grow louder, remember that some of the deepest affections you will ever know will not arrive with spectacle. Some of it will arrive early and leave as fast as they came in. Some of it will meet you when you finally choose yourself. And some of it will lie beside you when nothing can be fixed but presence grants you peace. Yours through mishaps and magical peril, the Mythbridger.